everybody, this is Rydo, and today we're looking at Polybridge. This is a 2016 physics bridge building game. I've only dipped my toe into trying to play bridge building games in the past. The ones I have tried have not really explained themselves well as far as the concepts and physics around it. Clearly it is a certain level of physics and gravity, but they don't go into much detail. So my enjoyment on this game as I experiment and try something a little bit different is going to heavily come down to just how much it's willing to hold my hand. Which, so far so good, I would say. And it says, "Howdy, welcome to the fascinating world of bridge building. It's nice to finally have a helping hand." Now, I would wish that we could go into the settings here, which it's a little weird that the settings button is over here and the play button is over here, and scale up some things. Arguably, maybe don't run at 1080p. It's really going to come down to some of the later levels as far as that, whether that matters or not. And this is a game that almost certainly would have spammed social media sites. I adjusted all the video settings to be higher, but we've got a lot going on here. We've got something that says read 1 and then several other things, and then we have a lot down here, and start simulation, decrease simulation speed, increase it, probably trash your construction, undo, redo, building a budget. At the moment our budget is unlimited, but I imagine that will change once we get into challenges. And then this may very well give us different views, and the information, who knows what that's going to do. It's probably going to walk us through all this, I would hope. I'm not much for it, so let's just jump right in. The first thing we need to build is a road over the water. So now that is no longer faded out. Build a road by connecting two static joints, which I assume are these. I thought they would have us go through the whole menu, but whatever, let's just hop into the game. I guess we're supposed to get this driver A to point A here. Right. And looks like you can just click and drag. Maybe that's a little unnecessary. Right, so we can only go 2 meters, it seems, for $400. Then another 2 meters for $400. And then another 2 meters for $400. Looking good. Now click on the start simulation or press the space bar. Use the shift middle click during this simulation to rotate the camera. Oh, that doesn't say read, does it? That says road. I'm already having trouble reading this from 8 feet away, looking at the screen, which is constantly becoming a problem. So that's pretty. And that's what the middle click does. So you have this low polygon view of it, thus the name Polybridge. And the level is complete. We spent $1,200 on budget. Let's see, online stats all locked during tutorial. We reached a max joint stress of 83.3%, I think is that what that is. And material footprint of 6 meters. Then we would just jump into the next level. I guess we'll try at 1080p here, but honestly, it does seem like it would make a lot of sense to, I don't know, I like to record everything at 1080p, but if you drop down to 1080 by 720, which is pretty low. That would be the next lowest standard, like TV resolution. It's going to inherently come down to just how big these gaps get and how tall these gaps get. Like right now at 1080, you've just got a lot on either side, which I can scroll in and scroll out to zoom in that part. That's fine, but then the question is, the text itself will just never get bigger. Build a road by connecting the two static joints. This one seems oddly easier than the previous puzzle. Seems a little backwards. And then click to start the simulation. The only difference here is we have a vehicle instead of a moped. Oh no, that vehicle is heavy. Let's add some support. Select the wood as shown, and then we add that. Okay. So far this is pretty much the basic stuff that I have learned when doing previous bridge building games. To support bridge joist by building a structure that distributes the weight onto load-bearing static joints, remember triangles are your friend. I question some of these designs on some of these bridge building things, because it does seem to me like there might be a lack of actual logical physics here, in that all of the structure would be held up by such a low arc. Well, I guess I was right about that. Adjust the position of the bridge joists with shift click to match the outline. You may also click and hold to modify icon until the modify icon replaces the cursor. As you place or move parts on your bridge, nearby joints will highlight if they are in range of the selected thing. So click and hold until it changes into a move. We are now over budget. Oops, we're over budget. You can complete the bridge up to 50% over budget and come back later to try again. Let's sort this out with a new design. First, let's clear the current bridge. Right click and drag the selected highlighted area. Then press the D button to delete it. You may also use the delete key or click the delete button. For the most part, I am trying to use a mouse only. Click the delete button. Is this not the delete button? Oh, delete selection is up here. Interesting. An arch bridge is what we need. It's inexpensive yet strong. It'll get the job done. Okay. They're not really reinforcing the idea that we should be using wood here, but I assume wood is the move. Effectively, we've just removed one connection point and maybe used a little bit less material. There we go. Build a road by connecting the two static joints. Seems to be the default goal every time. It probably is going to be the default goal every time. Although some of the trailer videos here do show you just building ramps. That certainly is a way you could try and spice up the experience a little bit in the bridge building game. Right click and drag the selected to select the highlighted area, then click the what key? Click copy selection or the something key. Okay. Copy selection. Flip the copy bridge by clicking the flip horizontal, and then flip it again by clicking the flip vertical or the F and Q key. Which, if anything, this seems like this is a little bit too much optimization, which makes me really afraid that this whole game is going to get very complicated very fast. And that has been my experience with bridge building games before, but in all fairness, the couple that I played before haven't even bothered to go this far as a tutorial. One crosses and then the other crosses. How was I supposed to know that one was going to cross then the other was going to cross? And almost certainly I would have spent a little bit more budget and connected it in a few other places. Now let's build a suspension bridge. Always I start by building a road across the static joints, which wouldn't it just make sense to potentially speed up the process by always having a bridge built by default, even if you modify it later. Select the tracing tool and connect to the indicated static joints, which seems like these static joints are definitely coming out of nowhere. Now select the tracing fill tool to place the suspension cables. Wow, this is too much. So we traced a line, then we used this steel rope. Now we're going to use woven ropes. Left clicking and right clicking. This is about to the extent of a bridge building game that I've ever been able to get to before I either lost attention or started to become somewhat confused on how the physics were actually supposed to work in that specific game, whichever specific game I was playing. It's time to build the drawbridge. The red outline in the middle shows where the ship will be going through. Okay. Which still seems like you start here. The same thing. Feels like they could cut you some slack here and do this for you. That way you really focus on the new content. Hydraulic here. Drag the hydraulic arrows out to 50% expansion. The expansion contraction setting mirror from the center. You may drag the hydraulic arrows up or down. Okay. plus 50. It says. There we go. Double click on the indicated static joint to create a split joint needed to open the drawbridge. Or hover the mouse on the static joint and press the J key. Which static joint are they talking about? There isn't an indicated static joint. It would have to be one of these three. Hover the mouse over on a static joint and press the J key. Alright, I've given up on trying to be only mouse only. I will hover over and press the J key. Okay, I hovered over this and hit J. Somehow it put a green thing over here. Zoom in on the split joint with your mouse wheel or plus on your keyboard. Click each of the highlighted circles to match the green slide 2. What am I doing here? You click here and you click here. And I guess you're telling them that this is connected to the second part of this. And so it seems to me like the whole thing is just going to lift up one way or the other. Now, if I were to zoom in really close here and hit start simulation, it does just take the whole scene and camera angle and change it. And the hydraulics just activate on their own. But you could certainly see them going an extra step in making you put in some kind of indicator to activate the hydraulics. But unlike other kinds of programming or Factorio style games, bridge building games I assume are going to stay very close to the realm of just building bridges. Although I feel like Polybridge is willing to go a little bit far afield. Sometimes your material and budget are limited, so you must build a ramp to jump to the target flag. Okay. That's crazy. And I guess arguably if you were playing this game because you were getting a degree in like bridge building, this is the kind of thing you would say no to, or a teacher would disapprove of. But this is also the part where a game would be fairly more entertaining. I don't understand why there's a letter A here when it wasn't before. You may undo the last actions via the undo button or pressing the Z key. Remove the old rope with the undo button and place a new rope so that it's under tension and supporting the ramp. Little squeaky undo sound. What I would say is that if the game is going to intentionally make you make mistakes, the tutorial guy should be the one to say, whoops, I told you the wrong thing, instead of just not mentioning that that was an intentional mistake so you would learn something new. Now, for the most part, I think I do understand every section of the menu except for these buttons and this. So, but the tutorial seems to be done before they're going to bother to explain those. Congratulations, you've completed the tutorial. Just a few more things to keep in mind. A comprehensive manual is available in the top left menu. You can replay the tutorial at any time from the select screen. If you get stuck, you can skip a level and try another. And don't forget to save. So, 1-1 and 8mm simple bridge. We only have wood, we have a $7,000 budget, and so we're into the game now. This grid, we just turn this off. The stress visibility does that. I'm not 100% sure what all of these things do. It is perhaps wise that there is a road material and a support wooden structure material, because without that you would effectively struggle I guess this is going to come down to just how much I really want to make sure everything is connected the same way. Yeah. And see, this is the point though where the game is really just going to throw you at it. Yeah, this is the level info button. Load, save, settings, manual, exit. Okay. They didn't really touch upon the idea of like certain support tensions or the tension rating or anything like that. Let's see, if I want to move this, it said to hover. Do I have to select it first, then hover? We just learned that. Click on it, hover. Might be that my hands are just too shaky and I'm moving around too much. Or do you have to hold down the click? Well, you really have to ask, what was the point of the walkthrough, of the tutorial? Pretty much this tells me that the tutorial should have been a lot longer. Clearly the game needed to point out some more concepts to me, other than triangles are your friend. And if you can't do level 1-1, let's just face it, you're not going to get any more help on level 2-2. So let's assume we're not doing anything crazy, and we are supposed to build a straight bridge here. Straight road there. You're not supposed to try and curve downward and curve back up. Then let's assume we are supposed to build a triangle. If we can't build a triangle going straight towards this, then maybe we should do... I don't know why the screen is dragging like that. That doesn't seem wise. I don't think... Maybe on bigger maps that would make sense. Okay. So you get to that point, and that seems to make sense. And that seems to make sense. Now theoretically I'd like to just copy one side to the other. Is it worthwhile to do something like this? I do get the feeling that a lot of these these bridge building games are pretty disingenuous as far as how they actually work. That they are effectively cheating and just looking for triangles and nothing else. Let's see if that works. But then you get into like statistics, and then you get into leaderboards, and I guess the question to ask there is, are leaderboards, particularly for old games, really going to be valid, or is it going to mostly be a bunch of people cheating and putting in incredibly high scores or incredibly low scores? Yeah, here we have a ton of people that say they used a zero budget. There's just no way that the entirety of the top, how many is that, 15 players on the leaderboard used exactly $0. So yeah, much like a lot of online content, even leaderboards are pretty useless. I think that's pretty good though, as far as a first try. I feel like this, definitely the menu and the user interface could be scaled up more. And start and then 2 cars doesn't really tell me too much. I feel like we could potentially save ourselves some time by just doing this. That way, maybe we can load this save file on the next level and see if that structure loads. Otherwise, there's so much menu space here at 1080p. Obviously, you shouldn't be playing this at 1080p, but it would make a lot of sense to be able to save a basic structure like this to start with. Alright. Is there any difference between putting something here versus building something here? Does this gray line indicate something that I should be aware of as far as this is the spot to focus on? And I assume I'm not duplicating components here, but I very well might be. Might just be putting a piece of wood on top of another piece of wood. Well, let's just try this and see if this works. That was perhaps too easy. And perhaps that was an example of maybe the puzzle not really requiring as much of a challenge as possible. But you'd think 1-1 would be the easiest puzzle and it would just get further and further as far as the level of difficulty. Alright, so now if I load this, there is no save file for this, so you can't pre-build structures. And then fill that way. Yeah, I don't see a reason why you would use the arc tracing tool in such a way. When you try to be a video game critic, you look for fun gameplay mechanics and you look for repetitive gameplay mechanics, and I feel like you're running definitely into repetitive gameplay mechanics when you have tracing tools not accelerate things. Interestingly, this arc probably is giving me a bit of information. If I make the bridge fall following the pattern of the arc as best as I can. And follow that arc. That may inform the best way to possibly build this. I'm not sure I 100% love this audio. This may very well not be balanced. That may not need to be balanced either. It seems like the real move here is you are going to have to balance it. So maybe draw an arc, snap to the middle, maybe even zoom in a little bit to make sure you are snapping to the middle. Should we be above the arc or below the arc? If we can't be exactly on it. I would assume you should be above the arc, because we're just gonna effectively sag. This to this means this needs here, needs to be here, which means this needs to be here. Yeah, this definitely doesn't feel like this is quite the experience I would like as far as mouse only. It definitely feels like you should be as efficient as possible. Okay. So, probably want something there. So we could go there. I could just be really off track here as far as what the move really is. Or this could be intentionally making it difficult so I learn something new, even though we're not in the tutorial section anymore. Which, yeah, we're definitely going to have to learn something new. Well, that definitely doesn't quite follow the curvature of the slope, but I think that's going to work. Nope. Yeah. It is very much a case where it feels like you either figure it out or you fail. We do have quite a bit of extra budget, but this part here clearly needs more support, which would probably be this here. Which I'm not even going to bother to balance out the design on the other side. Let's just see if both the cars can get over. There we go. And possibly I got a better score there just by not really trying to make it look pretty. Although my decisions almost certainly would want to make it look pretty. 1-4 slanted bridge. They say there's 100 levels here, so I'd assume there's 10 subsections. Alright, well, it chose to do it that way. I do feel like a slope tool here probably does help. And it is pointing towards something, isn't it? Tangents. Free tangents. Change shape. Alright, so let's try that again. Get rid of that. That. Perfect. Okay. So I've figured something out here. And here. What's the difference between like this shape though and this shape? And which one of these should I follow? Probably this one. I don't know if these... Yeah, this just lets you change things. So that doesn't mean anything, does it? Okay. So I was thinking the slope would help me, but honestly, there's a lot of room for the slope to just be a distractor. And am I just not doing this right? Have I forgotten something from the tutorial? I think I may have completely. Because wouldn't it make more sense to build this kind of bridge with wooden supports above it instead of wooden supports beneath it? There was nothing in that last level that really stopped me from doing that. They don't seem like they really want to snap together, though. So, yeah, let's just assume I'm gonna waste some resources there. Then do that. And do that. It looks like it's a little bit slanted, but I'm not sure it really is. So I might be designing something decently well here. It does feel like there's literally only one song that this game plays. It does feel like the game is just going to really encourage you to experiment with the smallest design possible first before you go any further. See, this is certainly a point where you would want to see the game clean some things up for you. Okay, that makes that feel more reasonable. Makes that feel more reasonable. Makes that feel more reasonable. That. Do that. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a case where the game is actually designed in such a way if you just add more stuff to it, though, that it just becomes really heavy. What you'd almost think is that there would just be a way to rotate everything. Because if I could just copy this, yeah. It would probably be a lot easier to start with that. So you would just have the length of your bridge. And then you'd want that. That. And that. That did not connect, weirdly. take this, cut it, which is effectively just saying to pick it up. It's not really what cut means in most people's use of it. Let's see if that works. What if we were to flip it upside down? Would the game let me pull that trick? Inevitably, somebody would have made just a jump, I think, for pretty much all of these puzzles. And this definitely feels like a core concept, so it doesn't feel like I can just skip ahead and I will never run into this problem again. It does feel like a game like this struggles to try to figure out something to be a second gameplay mechanic. That's, I'm sure, what the budget is all about. And that's a very realistic secondary gameplay mechanic idea. But you'd almost expect there to be a point where you're actually driving the cars yourself. You can crisscross things. If it did introduce that idea more of crisscrossing and driving yourself, well, not crisscrossing, driving, then I could see maybe proceeding with more caution. Like maybe there's a way, if the player was driving, you could severely reduce the amount of stuff you need to do. So this is one of these histogram leaderboards also that's somewhat balanced around conflicting metrics. I used what was considerably small amount of budget and materials, and still that didn't get me super high on the way the game ranked me on the leaderboards. But because I used very little budget and very little materials, the amount of joint stress was almost to 100%, and I assume at exactly 100% it breaks. Two-part bridge. Arguably, isn't this just more of the same, though? So if I was going to now draw, and it seems like you have to clear, then you have to click on this a second time. I was going to draw that, and then click wood, and say fill that in. It's an interesting choice. if I was going to say fill that in. That's an interesting choice. And then if I was to say put one here and then draw a line from here and here and fill that in. Okay. And if I was to say to put one here, then draw from there to there and fill that in. These are probably not exactly what I would do, but it does kind of feel like that maybe solves the first steps you would need to do. You would try and stretch out things like that. Yeah, too far away. So it does just seem like you're going to have to zoom in here and deal with this first. I guess if you put this over this way, it's highlighting this with a white, and you'd think the tutorial would explain that. So I can see that this spot, when this is here, can be reached until we go here. And then this spot can be reached. So you're looking for a sweet spot, which would be there. So you could do that. I don't believe you can connect that, so looking for a sweet spot there. So you can do that. Weirdly, it's crazy that I'm having to learn all of this, though. This is exactly what the tutorial should have been teaching me. And yet this is completely missing from the tutorial. And you know what? I'm not going to give any special praise to a game that may have had a sequel that did a better job at tutorializing the game later on. So, yes, I know there's at least a Polybridge 3 and the works are out there, but yeah. I'm not gonna take that into consideration for Polybridge 1. It's actually fairly shocking that video games don't go back and update their tutorial sections. If you're just making the same game with more levels, particularly in a game like this, it would make all the sense in the world to say, hey, we're going to just put out an update because we've gotten better at explaining the rules and there's no reason to not improve the tutorial mode. So yeah, that feels like that would work. Now, we do a similar thing except for inverted here. We check if these spots are good. We pretty much can confirm that these spots are not going to be good. So we'll adjust that. We go further down. Let's pick that. Go straight down, I can't hit that. It kind of needs to be here. And I think it's probably wisest to just do something like that. Like, I don't think there's really the smartest argument out there that needs to be super fancy. Okay. So now the question is, how do we fix this? Like, really, should it just be a triangle? Should I just draw a line here and here horizontally? Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Can I drag this to replace this? No. So of course, the real question here is, am I learning anything or am I just guessing? Because it kind of feels like I could be guessing. And yeah, this is another point where it's questionable whether the game is actually running real physics or whether the game is just looking for good triangles, or triangles in general. Feels like, at least on these early levels, the budget is also pretty high. Seems like you're being allowed to get away with quite a bit. But I kind of arbitrarily just equidistantly placed these spots. So I wouldn't be super surprised if there's a better way to do this. Maybe this whole connection point here is just a red herring. You know what? Let's just try something here. Let's just hit play and see what happens. We have a fairly nice design bridge over here, getting past the first part, and we have a very awkwardly designed bridge on the second part. Okay, over bridge now. If I wanted to skip a level, how would I do that? Because I'd like to see some of this other content, even though we've kind of already seen it. Like, we know one's a rope, we know one's a hydraulics. It definitely seems like there isn't that much variety. And so I'd assume Polybridge 2 should add at least 4 new materials, new ideas. Certainly. This really isn't getting to any real level of like what a actual bridge constructor would be doing as far as finding the right bill of materials and trying to figure out the safest way to possibly build a bridge. We are left with what is a nebulous road material, which I assume is just supposed to be asphalt and have no real rigidity or sturdiness, and then wood. And you would think that in a game like this, maybe you would unlock stronger materials, steel, concrete. Eventually you might go into the future of technologies, carbon fiber, lighter materials that are still fairly strong. They're not going to get into deep concepts of should you use rubber-coated rebar in pouring your concrete for a bridge, which a lot of people are saying now that rubber-coated rebar is not, well, engineers are arguing now that it's not actually as helpful as they thought it would be to prevent rusting on rebar once it's been implanted to reinforce concrete. Let's just zoom in here. I'd think that right-clicking would let you pan when you right-click on an empty spot, but instead it is a select button, which I guess also makes some sense. Okay. So maybe build a somewhat nice bridge this direction, and then you flip it. Because you basically can't do this, can you? You can't just build the bridge. You've got to get rid of that part, and you've got to build a diagonal bridge, which ideally I would just like a pre-built structure at this level. Something that says, this is it. This is how these kinds of bridges are built. And that's just that. That much. Then take this, cut it, rotate it until we've got like a good amount of clearance, which will make it longer. So if that was 10 degrees, then we'll rotate this negative 10 degrees. Like that. Not quite in the middle. Darn it, whatever. Again, I really don't feel like I have a lot of desire here to perfect this bridge design. And I think that's kind of the problem with these games in general, is that I just don't think it's for me. I'd really like to skip into like a free play mode as an option, unlock that as soon as the tutorial is over, potentially. That way the game gives you two potential things to do instead of leaving you with just one thing. I don't even know if it's structurally even necessary to go any further to the right here. This would just be a matter of dragging this. As long as I don't go downward, I can do that. I can connect to that. Connect to that one. Let's just see if that works. The bridge comes. The boat comes. At a certain level, I think that's kind of the problem with a lot of bridges in general, is that it is going to be fairly iterative. Once you figure out how to build one bridge, adding one bridge to another bridge is not that difficult. Again, I nearly went to 100% on joint stress, but I used considerably less budget and considerably less resources. So, if you can have bridges built under tolerances, apparently I'm a decent bridge builder. Now, interesting, the game is now switching things up on me in that I cannot build more than 5 roads, which, let's just get down to basics here. If I was to draw this and this, and say fill that with roads as a straight line. That's as far as I can get. So the step here is going to be to build a straight line up as much as possible. We'll go that far. That's probably good enough. And then what we'll try to do is build this level of arc from here to here. Build that with that. We're even going to try and make a landing pad on that, though. This is what I wanted. Something that would be more of a funny type experience. And that is pretty much what I've gotten. Is a funny experience here. We'll stretch that out. And see if we can make a road catch. This is very, very similar, though, to the first jump, though. I guess the trick here probably mostly comes from this not really being held up by anything. Probably would make some sense. Just see if you can stretch that as far as that can go. And then stretch that as far as that can go. And there's probably more room for more changes to be made, but we'll give it a shot. Now that is weird. It broke the second time we ran the simulation, which I don't like that at all, because that inherently tells me that if I did nothing and just ran the simulation again, there's a small percentage chance that a different outcome might happen. I guess what did change there is, though, I moved some things around. There's not really a bigger trick to this, though. Not as far as I can tell. Seems to me the goal is to get more distance. And you can just get more distance with a flatter angle. Might even be able to just tilt something like that. No, it doesn't seem like you can make a ramp. So the move is to do that. And then figure out some way to support that. Best as you can. At that point, we are over budget. If this didn't break, I could rely on it some more. Maybe I'm just supposed to build more of a bridge. There. Let's see. Let's think about this. If this technically goes this direction, then that would let me do this, I think. There we have some support here. Arguably, maybe we don't even need that piece. That definitely felt like more of a rigid body. So this is the idea of building a sturdy landing ramp, and then also building jump and combining those two elements. And I suppose the game is helping you a little bit because you can go over budget and not really care about it. Hey, so far that's been our best effort yet. Could I build more of a bridge and lose one more row? Because in my mind it feels like I could probably do something like this. That still may not be too heavy. Although, what if we just tried to reinforce this a little bit more? Do that. And I suppose people that really would enjoy this kind of gameplay would love to come back and like readjust things and reduce the price, reduce the cost. Just kind of question whether I care enough. I said pretty obviously don't. So yeah, this happens sometimes, is I'll play a game and I'll get to a point where I'm just desperately looking for the next big twist. The next thing that would keep me interested. I don't think I'm gonna find it. Oh man. Like we had that. See if we can just get a lower angle. Now, if anything, it seems like what I'm really succeeding at is getting higher angles, keeping it from spending too much time on the bridge. And that's why the moped is working and the car is not. Have no idea how to particularly strengthen this. Can't just go to the sea floor. We can do that. The weights really just don't feel like they mean anything though, because you're seeing like this weight there, but it doesn't mean anything. It seems to be a combined total weight of both bridges. Whereas other versions of this game, or these types of bridge building games I've seen, tend to have the specific piece of wood that is being stressed start to glow red, so you get more of a kind of obvious explanation there. You definitely could see how this might just turn into brute forcing things. Just try every single combination, or remove every singular piece. So in that case, it seems like half the players were way over budget and half the players are about overstressed, and I used the largest amount of footprint as possible. I do want to get to the end of the first chapter. And now we have steel. 6 pieces of steel. Which probably makes a lot of sense to do this. And then fill of that. Okay, so now we have a tension rope bridge, which is not really what we want, but you know what, we'll copy it, and we'll do that. Then we'll try that again. Don't feel like I'm getting that quite vertical. It feels like it would be helpful if there was a way to toggle the increments down, like as far as the snap goes. This is a little crazy, in my opinion, to have it move between such a large grid. Although I guess maybe if I was playing the game at a low resolution, then the grid would be bigger. I took a drafting class in high school, and it feels somewhat similar to that experience of using AutoCAD. And back when I was using AutoCAD, that was quite the hassle of a program, where about half of everything you were doing in AutoCAD was still typing in text instead of more simplistic drag and drop interfaces. If anything, it was too complicated of an interface. Arguably, when you are drafting, you're drawing things for blueprints to be printed on giant printers called plotters that are more analog, and they're not working on a grid as much. You're throwing in more math than you might think when drawing things. But inherently, I question if there is that much need for precision when you're talking residential house design, because the truth is, an architect draws a building, and then there is several skilled construction people that change the drawings on the fly after that point to actually make it work further. Right. We are way over budget, but I don't care. That was a blow to my ego. Maybe we need... we are totally out of money. We probably don't need any of this. See if that works. Now, I will admit, if you are designing like a huge infrastructure, like a mall or something, then it probably does make a little bit of sense to use software like AutoCAD, and that AutoCAD is as complicated as it is, but I would hope in the many years since I took that drafting class, they would have come up with better software and probably open source software. Because AutoCAD was definitely one of those softwares that, like Photoshop, were very, very expensive for what they were selling it to. And on one hand, they were potentially selling it to professionals, so that would make sense that it's somewhat expensive because people would be making money off of it. But on the other hand, they were selling it also to students that wanted to be professionals. I think I'm probably just screwing up here because these tension ropes just don't work the way I think they do. Alright, well. See if that does anything for us. Let's just start all over again. Okay. What if we were supposed to make something like this? That would be 3 on one side. The majority of your rigidity around building anything would be around the idea of being connected to a solid foundation. That being said, this really doesn't make a lot of sense to me that you're getting extra rigidity from that. But if you put the steel beams as the top part, that's not going to help you either. So it's got to be something like this. And then just tether that to that. And just tether that to that. There we go. Steel beams down to this point. Don't make the most sense. There's the rest of our steel beams. At that point, fill that in with road. And I guess we'll fill this in. Of course, you could in actual bridge construction, you could anchor something to anything. Nothing really stops you from, say, doing that. Even though you can't really see that. Copy. Flip. Connect. Of course, that would not work particularly well if you could just anchor things. At a certain level, if you put a rope here and here, it's probably not doing much. You can see this immediate sag happening where nothing is really holding this up. You could potentially tether something like this, but at a certain point I question whether this wouldn't be holding up the rope to that. Just totally out of money. And the thing you would say here is that the game is not really giving you the right amount of feedback. It's going to be very difficult to recoup money without just starting all over again. Gets us back on budget. We'll just copy everything down to that. Now, is it better to be held up by one thing or two things, or does it matter at all? We should probably do a little bit of an experiment just to see. First things first is it's going to fall over and snap. We do have two more steel beams. knows? Maybe that is the trick here. Definitely feels like everything's just gonna fall over. Triangles are your friend. They was the only real hint we got on this. Can we get a steel beam? Like, the weirdness here is this doesn't feel wrong. It really does feel like you would have steel beams just going up like this. So unless it's more of a case of should lift upward at high of an angle, as high of an angle as possible. This feels like this is the basic beginnings of a structure of a suspension bridge. Let's see, that probably isn't going to affect anything. So literally won't reach. So yeah, you do maybe something like that. But then what do you do on this other side? It's got to be mirrored, pretty much. What if we were to just lose a couple pieces there? Actually, let's just lose one piece. That'll be easier to deal with. But then that would at least highlight the problems with one side versus the other. The question, though, let's just start all over again. If I was just to fill that with steel beams, and then hit play. Well, that's just the edges. There's no road there. You would need to fill it with road. Also, then you would have to build something crazy in the hopes that you could tension with the wooden pieces. All of this, and that's not likely to be the case. Is there possibly some trick down here to building some support under the ground. Yeah, I just have no idea. Let's click exit and see what that does for us. So, on one hand, the exit very much to me indicated that it may just exit the whole app. We have 7 out of 105 completed. We've been under budget out of 6 out of 105. And under 100% stress out of 6 out of 105. We're in the Alpine Meadows, which is 7 out of 15, so even if I had made it past the 10th point where I thought we would be done, there still would have been 5 more. We could go back to the tutorial, we can see the leaderboards, and we can see the achievements. And there are only 25 achievements, but I can tell you now it's not going to be a quick 25 achievements. Let's see. Some levels require you to go through checkpoints before you can collect the flag. Star is a regular checkpoint. Stop is a stop checkpoint will make the vehicle stop. A reverse checkpoint will make the vehicle stop and then reverse its direction when it starts up again. In the level info, you'll see a stopped vehicle when a stopped vehicle is set to start up again by looking for the vehicle's label in a retrigger event. Okay. So these cars are going to start, then they're going to go to whatever this is, and then they're going to do whatever this is. I cannot read any of that from this far away. Okay. And it seems like we've pretty much left all sense of sanity at this point, because yep, this looks pretty crazy. It seems to me like you're going to have to build a bridge. You build a bridge to go to this point first. Let's just hit play and see what they do. That one's gonna drive, that one's gonna drive at the same time. For 105 puzzles, this really is a game where I would have more wanted it to be fairly quick about how I could build the bridges. I'd want to see some quality of life improvements. And yeah, just not seeing any of that. Seems like every single level is going to be heavily focused around, first and foremost, just building the start points. Then if you stick with it, you eventually get to the more interesting content. Don't stick with it, it's just gonna be frustration. Okay, both of them stop, and then they go on forever. Which pretty much be able to figure out what the goal here is you're gonna add this, and you're gonna drag this, really got a way to split the pivot points without pressing, was it F or J? Okay. I think the point there is we'd probably have to pivot on this one also. It's crazy there isn't a button here to split the pivot point. You definitely can tell how a lot of this is more designed for a cell phone, pinching to zooming being mentioned. Most of these games I have seen have been more cell phone focused. Probably put this in the wrong place. I would like to kind of end this, well, I guess I'll call a quick look in retrospect with some success, but I don't know if I really believe that that's actually in the cards, though. Feels like maybe I just need to break all the other junction points. So that feels like everything should just slide down now. Yeah, look at that. We almost got it. It's just going to be a matter of reducing the amount it goes. Not quite there, but how am I supposed to know what the actual angle should be? I have no idea. And I think that is just another great example of how that tutorial is laughably inefficient. It's just not good enough. There we go. And that brings us to 2-1 Wooden High Bridge, which now we have a bus and slightly different backgrounds, although in all fairness the Unity asset store, I imagine, supplied all of these 3D low polygonal shapes, and you could see them in a bunch of different other levels. Some levels you access the hydraulic controller in the bottom bar. This allows you to choose whether specific hydraulics or split joints will be activated during the hydraulic phases. This obviously is getting more and more complicated, but by the time you get to the end here, seems like you can get fairly complicated. So what I'm assuming happens here is you do this, and then that assigns it to that, or it assigns it to that. So you can have different hydraulics at different times. And then they're throwing in a hot air balloon. So we'll just check out the first and the last of each of these puzzles to see what I'd miss out on by not going any further, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Some levels give you access to the hydraulic control at the bottom of the bar again. So doesn't seem like it gets much more complicated in this next section. This is just a jump. Boy, is this something I wish I was better at. Like, but at a certain level, I guess I just have to admit to myself that I probably am never going to be good at bridge building games. I don't have enough of an attention span for them. It is very much one of those games that feels like it would appeal in particular to people who are very OCD or on the Asperger spectrum or on the spectrum of some sort. I could definitely see people who would obsess around trains also be obsessed around bridges. Doesn't seem like we got anything new in that. I wouldn't be surprised if Polybridge originally was a mobile game and had considerably fewer levels and eventually just added more levels via update. But at a certain point you also are asking for a lot of repetition with 100 levels if you have only 6 materials and what sounds like one song. 100-meter bridge. This, I suppose, shows you the full extent of what a level could be. It seems like that is going to be very difficult to build. You know, would hope you would have learned some tricks before reaching that. And see, that was the Zen Gardens, but I would not really call this a Zen game. I could see some people thinking that it was kind of calming and relaxing as far as a game, but for me, I find this frustrating as soon as I hit go and the bridges just fall apart. If there was a bridge built there. But the lack of feedback, even compared to other probably later designed bridge design games, is part of the annoyance that I would find from this. Is I would want a whole scripted set of hints. But then again, I would also want something more I could do with my budget, some kind of reward or collectible that I could get for being under budget, or maybe some kind of help I could get for other levels. Now, I will applaud this game for not forcing me to play every level in order, but yeah. 1-7. is as far as I got, really, in this game. And I just don't think there's anything else to really say. I can see Polybridge 2 on Steam, and Polybridge 3 has 150 plus more levels. Let me click on Steam's page on my second monitor and just see what Polybridge 3 looks like. For the most part, it looks exactly the same as Polybridge 1. I'm trying to see if it's going to show me any interface. There are new low polygon things in levels designs. They maybe introduce a swinging bridge mechanism or more of a scale bridge mechanism. Where you could have the bridge on one side fall downward and the other side would come up. None of the screenshots are really giving me a picture of the user interface. Pre-built materials. These probably what I'm saying when I would like to build a default bridge and then save it and load it. And that's in Polybridge 3. Pre-built materials can be included with a level on loading, giving you a helping hand or another obstacle to overcome. And then a new material foundation. Support long bridges with strong foundation. Or 2. Expensive yet very effective. So Polybridge 3 gives you like one material in foundation and pre-built materials. And I'll just quickly look at what they're selling Polybridge 2 on. Springs, new soundtrack, new physics, verified leaderboards, a Twitch extension, improved Sandbox, workshop campaigns, higher resolution, 3-way split joints, first break indicator. So it feels to me like Polybridge 2 probably adds a little bit more than Polybridge 3 does. But yeah. As for me, guess that's going to be it for this episode. We went long. This is quote unquote a quick look at 2 hours. I'm not going to play any more of this game, which is a shame, but I have a lot of other games I can play. So that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos because that helps me with YouTube. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.